I was a fresh college graduate. Unable to find a job, my aunt got me a position as a security guard in a dilapidated old building. I wasn't picky. These days, college graduates are a dime a dozen, and I came from a diploma mill to boot. Getting any job was a stroke of luck. According to my aunt, the building was supposed to be demolished, but for some reason it had been left standing. Amid a cityscape of towering high-rises, it stuck out like an oddity. Today was my first day reporting in. My aunt led me to this shabby 13-story building. The area around the building was fairly open, if a bit unhygienic. I don't know why the officious urban management officers hadn't bothered to take care of this place. Maybe it really was that the place was too run down, had become a neglected corner of the city. We found a security room on the first floor. When we opened the door, to our surprise, it was quite tidy. The man handing over the shift to me was an old guy called Tong Uncle, who looked to be well into his 70s or 80s. At your age, why aren't you enjoying a peaceful life at home instead of coming out to work as a security guard? I asked curiously. The old man smiled affably, like any grandfather out for a stroll. Young man, it's not that I don't want to retire. It's that they wanted me to keep working. Unfortunately, my body won't allow it anymore. I really can't manage the work. My wife told me to stop and enjoy life with her. For some reason, I felt Tong Uncle left happily. Perhaps the long-term residents of the building finally had someone new to take over. Maybe, after working a lifetime, being able to let go and spend the remaining days with the one you love is something to be glad about. Uncle Tong left, leaving me with a clean security office. The old man must be pretty diligent. The whole room was spotless. There was another partition area in the back with a bed, an induction cooker for cooking, and even a small private bathroom. Since I was the only security guard in the whole building, barring any special circumstances, this place would be my home from now on. I didn't expect that right after graduation, I'd start living a life of total slacking off. I shook my head. Compared to many people who don't even have enough to eat, this was pretty good. At least I had food, drink, and a place to live, and they paid me a few thousand yuan a month. I'm the sort who rarely socializes and don't usually have anywhere to spend money. Work a few years, save up, go back to the countryside, and build a house. Then getting married wouldn't be hard. On my first day on the job, I didn't really know what to do. I just sat by the glass window, staring out blankly, or took out my phone and scrolled through videos for a while. However, on the desk Uncle Tong had used, there was a piece of paper, and on it was written, 1. Every morning before the roosters crow at 5, you must open the door because some residents get up early and you can't lock them inside. 2. Do not go to the 13th floor during the night patrol. 3. The door must be locked before midnight. No matter who comes, do not open it. 4. Don't meddle in others' business. Remember that. The last item had 3 exclamation marks. I don't know if Tong Uncle meant to write it that way on purpose, but I'm not one to go looking for trouble. I probably wouldn't interfere in anyone else's affairs. What really piqued my curiosity, though, was the 13th floor. Why couldn't you go to the 13th floor at night? It's still early outside. Since I'm not allowed to go at night, going during the day should be fine. Curiosity stirred my restless heart. Might as well go take a look. I'll be stuck here for a long time anyway, so it's not wrong to learn something. The 13-story-old building even had a ramshackle, ancient elevator. But Uncle Tong told me that unless it's urgent, it's better to take the stairs. That rickety elevator breaks down all the time, and even if you call someone to fix it, they're too lazy to come, so the old tenants here generally don't use the elevator. The hallway has motion sensor lights, so when you walk through it, the lights flicker even in broad daylight, which gives it a somewhat creepy feel. But I've never been one to believe in ghosts or spirits. They're just lights, after all. Besides, a few of the floors don't even have working lights anymore. Years of neglect. No one seems willing to get them fixed, though it would probably only take replacing a few bulbs. It seems the residents of this building are a bit indifferent. None of their business, so they hang it up high. I couldn't be bothered either, and went straight to the fire door on the 13th floor. Creak. I pushed the door open and a gust of chill hit me. Outside the sun was blazing summer. Inside felt like the air conditioning had been turned on. I didn't probe further and kept walking in. The building was square with a central light well, meaning there were 4 corridors. Clack, clack, clack. My aunt's new leather shoes made footsteps that sounded especially sharp in the empty hallway. Believe it or not, they were kind of unsettling. Could it be that no one lived on the 13th floor? I picked a random door and gave it a light push. Creak, creak, creak. How long has this door been unopened to make that sound? Sure enough, the sight that greeted him was one of decay. Old newspapers were strewn across the floor, an ancient broken clock hung on the wall, long stopped, and one of the windows had been busted sometime in the past, leaving the floor littered with shards of glass. Who? A gust of wind blew, sending the discarded newspapers on the ground flying everywhere. A strange creaking sound came from above. Looking up, I saw an old-fashioned ceiling fan swinging a few times in the breeze. This crappy place, the property management doesn't care at all. If that broken glass falls down, it'll be dangerous. I muttered to myself a few words, found a leg from a broken stool, scraped at it a few times, cleaned the shards of glass from the windowsill, and only then, satisfied, closed the door. I spun around and was jolted with a start. Holy, who are you? I didn't notice when a long-haired girl had appeared behind me. She was tilting her head and looking at me with curiosity. Her long, straight black hair covered half her face, but the exposed half looked very young, maybe around 20 years old. I didn't expect there to be such a beautiful girl in this rundown building. What are you doing up on the 13th floor? Didn't anyone tell you no one lives here? The girl didn't answer the question, but judging by her expression, she might be a resident who heard the noise. Oh, haha, I'm a new security guard. Didn't scare you, did I? It's my first day on the job. I was just wandering around. Security guard? Tong uncle finally left, after all. The girl seemed lost in thought and didn't respond for a long while. To avoid the awkwardness, as a man, I took the initiative and introduced myself. My name is Lu Shur-san. Funny coincidence. This building has 13 floors. What's your name? Are you a resident here? The girl shook her head, then nodded slightly. Don't stay here. You shouldn't be here. You shouldn't be here. He spoke without really addressing me, then turned and left. He rounded the corner quickly and vanished from sight. This guy is so odd, all mysterious and stuff. I silently brushed the dust off my clothes and was about to leave, but after I rounded the corner, the girl's figure was nowhere to be seen. People are strange. He walks pretty fast, though. What a shame. I was actually planning to get closer to him. Oh well, a toad wanting to eat swan meat. When will this old rascal ever find a girlfriend? I gave up on the idea of looking for the girl. It would be a disaster if someone misunderstood me for a molester. Besides, I'm posted at the building's entrance. If she goes out, I'll still see her. For some reason, I couldn't stop thinking about the girl I saw the first time. Maybe it was just because she was pretty. The love of beauty is natural to everyone. I had just returned to my little room and was about to step inside when someone slapped me on the shoulder, startling me so much I almost jumped. Hey, Lu Shur-san, gotcha. So you really became a security guard? Phew, you scared the hell out of me. You walk like a ghost. What are you doing here? It was my good buddy and partner in crime, Ma Xiao. He was the kind of guy who loved to play and make a ruckus. When we were kids sneaking sweet potatoes from the fields, he was usually the one leading the charge. I hadn't heard from him in ages. I never expected he'd show up today. Hey, I heard you got a job, so I came by to see you. Come and see me? I glanced at the sky outside. I had been out for a walk a moment ago, and it was already dark. You didn't even call before coming. Why are you showing up at night? This place isn't easy to find. I'm just playing around nearby. I ran into your aunt. She said you were here, so I came. What, you don't like evenings? Perfect chance to treat me to dinner. I'm still hungry, you know. I looked at him with amusement. Hungry on your buddy's turf? Come on, let's go. Shaw County Grand Hotel. They'll fill you up. Haha, you're still so stingy, kid. Let's go. Let's go. I have to head back later anyway. The two of them had just stepped out when, to my surprise, Ma Xiaohu grabbed me and ran. I didn't understand and wrenched my hand free. What are you doing playing that game? You're not going to starve. Why are you running so fast? You brat. I'm saving you. Saving me? I'm fine, what for? There's no car coming, is there? Lu Shur-san, I'll be honest with you. There's something wrong with your building. Don't you feel the place is saturated with energy? Energy? I scratch my head. It's an old building. A bit of damp chill is normal. I'm telling you, I apprenticed under a master these past few years. Admittedly, I only learned the basics, can't make much of it, but energy doesn't slip past my senses. This feeling is exactly the same as when my master dumped me on a mass grave. You turned into a quack priest? I thought I hadn't heard from you in years. I grab his neck, chuckling softly. All right, don't use that half-assed skill of yours to spook me. There's no such thing as all these ghosts and spirits. It's all people scaring themselves. Remember all those ghost stories in the village when we were kids? Not a single apparition ever showed up for us. Hey, by the way, you didn't go and take that mad Taoist up on the mountain as your master, did you? Ma Xiaohu cleared his throat awkwardly, which made me laugh out loud. So it really was him. There's a rundown temple up on the mountain by our village. When we were kids, we'd run up there for fun, and there was this crazy old Taoist who was always babbling. He was our favorite target, and we drove him mad. Back then, Ma Xiaohu was the worst troublemaker of us all. I never thought that, in the blink of an eye, he'd end up taking that old man as his master. Fortunes sure do turn. All right, let's go eat. Say hello to your master for me. We were little rascals back then. Now that I think about it, he must have been letting us get away with it. No, you're not leaving? Where are you going? If you leave, what will I eat? I finally found an easy job, so stop worrying for nothing. Ma Xiaohu saw I remained unmoved and could only give up. Yeah, he couldn't wreck someone's livelihood just with a word. Maybe he really had mistaken things. Full and satisfied. Yes, the two of us hadn't seen each other in a long time. So over the duck leg at Shaw County Restaurant, we drank a little beer. I'm not much of a drinker. After 2 cans, I surrendered. Ma Xiaohu, though, didn't even flush. He kept teasing me, saying I hadn't changed a bit over all these years. At the end, he reminded me to call him if anything happened. You could tell he still wasn't entirely at ease. I half-heartedly nodded and watched him into the taxi. I staggered toward the building. As I walked, I hummed that tone-deaf song to myself. I want to go back, try to let the story continue, at least so you won't leave me anymore. Heh, alcohol is a real bastard. It can make someone like me remember a love that's long since dead. I walked into the building and glanced at the clock on the wall. It was exactly 1 minute to midnight. I never could figure out what was wrong with this place. They had a clock at the main entrance, as if it were constantly reminding me to be punctual. Creak, creak, creak. I pushed the rolling shutter with all my might, thinking to myself how Tong Uncle managed to move such a rotten door. Slap! A hand suddenly landed on the edge of the rolling shutter. Phew, almost didn't make it. The rules in this shitty building are such a pain. Almost couldn't get back and would have had to sleep on the street. You are. I looked at the young man in front of me, who was dressed up like a peacock, and asked casually, I'm a tenant here. You're the new security guard, right? Didn't expect someone so young. If you have time, come hang out. I live on the first floor, the innermost room. Oh, okay. Please come in first. I'm going to lock the door. Clang, 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 clang. The clock struck 12 as I shut the main door. Back in the security office, I poured myself a glass of water and washed my face. Suddenly, my heart gave a jolt. No, the entire first floor was an open space with only a few storage rooms. Where would any tenants come from? Could it be that I heard wrong? Once something's on my mind, I can't let it go. I'll probably be thinking about it when I try to sleep tonight. Oh well, I have to do a round of patrol anyway, so I might as well go take a look. I grabbed my flashlight and tiptoed down the corridor on the first floor. Tread, 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 tread. In the darkness, only the sound of my footsteps echoed. Strangely, I hardly ever saw anyone coming or going in this building, even during the day. I hadn't seen anyone myself, except for that tenant and the beautiful woman I ran into on the 13th floor. After walking around for a while and finding nothing, only the last storage room remained. I mustered my courage and stepped inside. It's pitch black. Why don't they at least install a light? I muttered to myself and walked up to the door. On it were the 3 characters, storage room. I fell in my pocket. There was a ring of keys, and one of them was labeled storage room. Using the flashlight, I studied the blurred handwriting carefully. The label was written on a white adhesive tape. Seems like an older generation habit. Found it. I tried to pry it and found it seemed a little rusty. The door wouldn't open. This damn door. I knocked on it, cursing my bad luck. I didn't want to break the door down in the middle of the night, so I had no choice but to give up. I went back to patrolling, but my mind kept spinning, wondering if that guy was just playing a prank. Creak. Huh. What was that sound? It sounded like one of the old doors had opened. My first thought was the storeroom from earlier. Could my knock have made the door swing open by itself? I hurried back. If there was anything important inside and someone took it, I would be held responsible. At that moment, I was still thinking about being a competent security guard. Out of breath, it took me 10-odd seconds to get back to the storeroom door. It's really open. I looked at the half-open door and shone my flashlight inside. On one side was a bunk bed, seemingly abandoned for a long time. Something black and unidentifiable lay on it. I went ahead and opened the door all the way, then felt for the light by the doorway. Click. Huh. It's broken too. Could the whole line be dead? I figure I could come back during the day to take a better look. If it's just a simple wiring issue, I should be able to fix it myself. I waved the flashlight again. Further on was a rickety table strewn with a jumble of junk. A chair lay tipped over to one side. No one had bothered to set it upright. The whole room was thick with dust. On the bed lay what looked like a moldy quilt. I didn't want to touch it. God knows whether there were rats in it. There was also a cabinet on one side, but I didn't go to open it. All in all, it seemed like someone might once have lived here, but there wasn't a single window. Wouldn't that feel suffocating? That tenant must be an old regular who'd lived here a long time, knew about this room, and used it to scare me. I shook my head speechlessly. Who still plays that kind of joke these days? I shut the door and headed straight for the stairs to go up to the second floor and take a look. I didn't notice that at the very moment I closed the door, something mixed in with the clutter on that battered table had flipped over. If I had been there, I would have seen at once that it was a picture frame, some sort of man smiling brightly like a fool. By now I had reached the second floor. From where I stood, I could see 3 or 4 apartments with lights on. I had no idea who lived there, and I didn't want to bother them. I just did my usual loop. Bang! How did my phone fall? I bent down to pick up the phone, and when I looked up, I noticed the innermost door was open and a young man was coming out. Hey, you're the security guard, right? I thought there were mice out here. It's you. I brushed the dust off my phone and pressed the screen. These uniform pockets are a bit shallow. No wonder the phone fell out. Good thing it didn't break. You said you live on the first floor, didn't you? But this is clearly the second floor. I still had a bit of a temper. This guy was clearly trying to scare me. If it weren't for my duty, I would have lost my temper long ago. Who knew the man pointed at the sign by the door? Didn't I tell you you didn't know that the second floor here uses the first floor's number plate? Huh. I looked up and saw 124. It really was a first floor number plate. The floor below us doesn't have a door number, so the numbering starts from the second floor. See, I wasn't lying. I'm making a late-night snack? Want some? I was still a bit dazed and just shook my head. Maybe next time. It's my first night patrolling. I haven't finished the round yet. Well, see you. Click. As his door closed, the surroundings fell back into a deathly silence. Who? I forced a bitter laugh. Good thing I hadn't lost my temper. Otherwise, there would have been a misunderstanding. Unbelievable. I walked around the whole floor and didn't even notice the room number. Just as I was about to continue my patrol, my heart gave a sudden jolt. Wait, this is the nameplate for the first floor. So where did the 13th floor I saw during the day come from? From the outside, this building clearly only has 13 floors. At that moment, cold sweat broke out on my forehead. I felt more and more certain that there was something wrong with this building. But the note said not to go to the 13th floor at night, and my heart felt like it was being clawed by a cat. Right, it never said I couldn't go up to the 12th floor. I'll just take a look at the stairs to the 12th floor. It shouldn't be a problem, right? After comforting myself for a moment, I didn't feel like checking the other floors anymore. I counted the floors as I went up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 11, 12. I stare at the stairs in front of me. 10, 3. Where did this extra floor come from? This can't be. How could another floor appear for no reason? My hands trembling, I picked up my phone and dialed a number. Beep, beep, beep. Hello. Who is this calling so late at night? Ma Xiaohu's voice came through the phone. He must have been woken up just as he fell asleep, cursing and speaking in a pretty bad tone. I'm Lu San. Ma Xiao, listen to me. I think I just saw a ghost. A ghost? The other end suddenly sounded excited. I told you that building of yours had issues. So tell me, what's it like now? Is it a male ghost or a female ghost? Gurgle. I swallowed. No. I ran into a haunted loop, you know. Our building actually has a 14th floor. No way. You entered some other dimension? Listen to me. Don't panic. Whatever you do, don't go in. Wait for me. I'll bring my gear and come find you. That's it. Beep, 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 beep. I listened blankly to the busy signal on the line. How did this guy change his tune? During the day, he was clearly telling me to get out, and now he sounded oddly excited. Actually, I had just called him on impulse when I felt helpless. I really didn't intend to go in. When you're anxious, time always seems to stretch out. I kept glancing at the time on my phone, painfully restless. All right, that kid can't get in. I have to go and open the door for him. I reflexively pressed the adjacent elevator button. Ding dong. One foot had already stepped in, but I suddenly remembered Uncle Tong's warning. This elevator wasn't reliable. I pulled my foot back, and only then had time to glance inside. An old, worn floor and a rusted panel. Also, this is the 12th floor. Sure enough, this building doesn't have a 13th floor. Click, click, click. The elevator doors closed, but the certainty in my chest only deepened that there was something wrong with this floor. The phone rang back. Ma Xiaohu said he was almost there. I hurriedly ran downstairs, but stopped at the security office door. Through the window, my eyes fell on that piece of paper on the desk. After midnight, no one is allowed to open the door. This. Bang, 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 bang. Just as I hesitated, the knocking woke me. Hey, Lu San, it's me, let me in. Ma Xiaohu waved at me. I bit my lip. Ma Xiaohu was my buddy. He wouldn't be a problem. I just opened it a little. Shouldn't be an issue, right? With that thought, I went to the rolling shutter, used the key, and laboriously pried it open a one-person wide crack. Ma Xiaohu seemed a bit impatient. With a flash, he dashed inside. I slammed the door shut again. What are you doing? Opening the door like that makes me nervous. I scratched my head awkwardly, then pointed at the stairs. Why are you so excited? This building's got issues, and you're still coming up here. Ma Xiaohu chuckled. Haven't seen it before? My master brags about it every day. I've gotten calluses on my ears. Now I want to let him see for himself. You with your half-assed skills. Won't something go wrong? Don't worry. Look what I have here. What is it? I looked at the pendant in his hand. It was jade-like, but not quite jade, and I couldn't tell what it was carved into. My master's treasure. I'm sure he hid it well. It must be a weapon for dealing with the supernatural. You don't even know what it is? It's too dangerous. I think we should forget it. Just pretend I never went up to the 13th floor. Don't be like that, man. It's not often I get a chance. How about this? I'll go in, and you stand watch for me. Well, don't hesitate. I'm already going in. If you won't go, I'll go up myself. Seeing that I really couldn't argue him out of it, I had no choice but to follow. We started climbing the stairs again. If we hadn't made 2 more trips, I was pretty sure I'd be out of energy. Who would have thought being a security guard these days would be so physically draining? I don't know if it was my imagination, but tonight Ma Xiaohu seemed very different from how he was during the day. I still couldn't figure out exactly what was wrong. When we reached the 12th floor, the staircase was still there, but the door was open. I nervously picked up my flashlight and shone it in. It was very dark inside, as if it could swallow the beam, which didn't reach 2 meters. Ma Xiaohu patted my shoulder and peered inside again, still seeming undeterred. Well, want to go in with me? My mind went completely blank, but I still shook my head instinctively. No way I was going in. What, scared? Fine, you stay here and keep watch. I'll go scout it out. Without waiting to see if I agreed, he stepped in, not caring at all. In the blink of an eye, he was gone. I watched the doorway nervously, pricked up my ears, but couldn't hear any footsteps. Is this guy part cat? Suddenly, a hand tapped my shoulder. Don't mess around. I instinctively thought it was Ma Xiaohu, but I woke up immediately. Hadn't Ma Xiaohu gone inside? Who had just tapped me? I turned my head stiffly, and the first thing I saw was a pale hand, very slender, probably a woman's. Soon I saw her whole figure. It was her. The same long black hair I'd seen during the day. "Hi, beautiful you hello. Come with me." Ah, before I could make sense of it, she had already grabbed me and was pulling me toward the door on the 12th floor. Her hand was so cold. She stood before a door, turned her back to me, and opened it. There's no one else home. It's not proper for an unmarried man and woman to be alone together, is it? I scratched my head sheepishly, feeling a bit embarrassed. The girl just shot me a sidelong glance, said nothing, and went in by herself. For a moment I was at a loss. Should I go in or not? "Come in." Her words were like an order, but I didn't have time to think. I could only give an awkward smile and follow her inside. "Why aren't you turning on the lights?" I asked. The girl lit a white wax candle and looked at me strangely. "You're in trouble." Ah, I looked at her in bafflement. What had I done? Didn't you read the building rules? Why did you open the door? That's not that dramatic. I just picked up a friend. Are you sure he's your friend? Should be, I guess. I was a bit uncertain. In fact, Ma Xiaohu was acting somewhat off tonight. Think carefully. Didn't you forget something? The girl kept reminding me over and over. She seemed to know something. I tried hard to recall, and suddenly a flash of insight lit up in my mind. It was the time Ma Xiaohu was returning to the countryside. He had come back too quickly. All told, from the moment I made the call, it was only half an hour. Not enough time even for a single round trip. I did a quick mental calculation. If I ran the numbers properly, when I called, Ma Xiaohu shouldn't have been home yet. There's no way he could have been fast asleep. A cold dread suddenly gripped me. Could it be? Am I seeing a ghost? Have you figured it out? Who is he, really? The girl shook her head. I don't know, but he's definitely not a good thing. This building forbids entry or exit after midnight. It's to keep nearby evil spirits from slipping in. Apparently, that still didn't prevent something from happening. How could this be? This building clearly doesn't have a 13th floor, so why can I see it? And why did that Ma Xiaohu go in? No 13th floor? Who told you that? Didn't you go in during the daytime? The girl looked astonished. I guessed it myself because I saw a floor sign for the first floor while I was on the second floor, and this building only has 13 floors in total. How could you see the sign for the first floor from the second floor? Don't be so skeptical. By the way, that elevator only has 12 floors too. Elevator? The girl's expression grew even stranger. The elevator's broken. Which floor did you see? What? The elevator is broken? Impossible, impossible. I ran out like a madman and finally found the elevator on the 12th floor, but even the up and down buttons on the wall were dark. I shone the flashlight and found a piece of paper on the elevator doors. On it was written, "Elevator out of order, do not use." I checked the date on the notice. It was from 6 months ago. How could this be? What on earth did I encounter tonight? No, I have to go and verify it. I dragged my exhausted legs and ran down the stairs as fast as I could. Huff, huff, huff. I was panting as I reached the second floor, shining my flashlight at the door plaques. 201. I checked the next one. 202, 203, 204, until I saw that familiar 214 pasted on a door. In this moment, I really wanted to knock on that door, but it was already late at night, and disturbing someone's sleep would get me complained about. Reluctantly, I returned to that storage room on the first floor. I needed to confirm one thing. Once again, entering that apartment, the air still carried the scent of mildew. I carefully held the flashlight and peered inside. I casually picked up the broom by the door. Clamping my nose, stifling my fear, I lifted a corner of the blanket. Suddenly, a spherical object rolled off the bed. Thump, 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 thump. I covered my mouth in fright. Could it be? I took several deep breaths and spent a long time psyching myself up before I dared shine the flashlight on the round object on the floor. What met my eyes was just a basketball. Who? That scared me to death. I laughed at myself ruefully, thinking how crazy I must be. How could there be any dead people? If I stayed any longer, I might go mad. Screw the patrol. This place is seriously cursed. I was already planning to go back to my security room and wait there until dawn when my eye caught the photo frame on the desk again. How did I not see that earlier? I stepped closer. A smiling face looked right at me, and my pupils instantly dilated. Clack! I jumped back in fright and accidentally kicked the stool on the floor. How could this be? That guy really did live here. In other words, the person I just saw very likely came out of here. Summoning my courage, I lifted the tablecloth on the desk. What met my eyes was a half-cooked late-night meal, already rotten and moldy. No wonder it smelled so foul. But normally people don't just leave cooking halfway and walk away. This young man who looked the part of a person suddenly seemed even more suspicious. Could he really be a ghost? No, that can't be. Surely no one had come to check on him? Tong Uncle was such a clean freak. How could he not have tidied things up? My head was full of question marks. This building was just too strange. I fled that room as if running for my life. I'm just an ordinary person, not Sherlock Holmes. I don't want to start digging into the source of all this. Back in the security office, I turned on every light, and only then did I feel a sliver of calm. But then I started worrying about Ma Xiaohu. If the person who went in really was him, and I just ran off like that, wouldn't that be pretty unloyal of me? Maybe he just decided on a whim to sleep over at a friend's place, and hurried over as soon as he could. It's not impossible. I panicked, and my eyes accidentally fell on the note on the table again. Rule 3. The door must be locked before midnight. Do not open it for anyone. Rule 4. Don't meddle in other people's business. Gurgle. I suppose it's because I stuck my nose where it didn't belong that a series of strange things started happening. Could this be the consequence of not following the rules? The silence around me was terrifying. There wasn't a single odd sound, and that only made me more uneasy. Ring, ring, ring. Suddenly, my phone rang, and I was so startled I nearly threw it. When I saw the caller ID, it showed Ma Xiao. Whether to answer or not, I hesitated for a few seconds, then pressed the accept button, but I didn't rush to speak. From the other end there was silence. Maybe the signal was bad, and after a long while Ma Xiaohu's voice finally came through. Where did you go? I remained silent, wanting to see what trick he was playing. After all, I still had question marks over his identity. Why aren't you speaking? Did you encounter something strange? Lu Shi-san, I'm telling you, I've discovered a big secret. What secret? I finally couldn't help replying. There was a fire in this building. The entire 13th floor is full of ghosts. I'm trapped and can only call you for help. Come open the door for me. A chill ran through me as I listened. What was he saying? The whole 13th floor full of ghosts. Don't joke around, it's just a door. Didn't it not latch a moment ago? Even if the wind shut it, it's not like it can't be opened. Don't be unbelieving. It can only be opened from the outside now. The inside is being held by Yin energy. If it weren't for Master's protective talisman, they'd have taken me already as company. I felt a prick of irritation. Reason told me not to meddle, but another voice inside kept whispering. That's the childhood friend you grew up with. Can you really bear not to save him? There's magnetic interference here, the signal's bad, and my phone is about to die. Look, I'll take a picture and show you, then you'll believe me. I'll wait for you. Hurry and come. Do. Listening to the busy tone on the phone, I felt a little at a loss. Ding dong. The photo had really been sent. I hurriedly clicked it open, and a chill ran down my spine. I saw Ma Xiaohu crouched in a corner, taking a selfie of himself. Behind him were one after another illusory shadows. What they were I couldn't tell, but they certainly weren't anything good. Suddenly, at the very back of those shadows, I saw a familiar face. It was that girl. How could she be there? Didn't she say not to go to the 13th floor? How did she end up going up there herself? And she's with those ghostly figures. The more I thought about it, the more terrified I became. Could it be that she wasn't human either? I suddenly rushed out. If this girl wasn't human, then her endless ghost stories couldn't be trusted. I came to the elevator doors. The light above them was on. My hand trembled as I reached out and pressed the button. Clack, 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 clack. The battered old elevator shuttered open, half dead and barely alive. The girl was lying. The elevator wasn't broken. Right? Hadn't I seen that during the day? How could I have been so muddled? I peered inside, my eyes narrowing. 13th floor. There really was a 13th floor. Had I been blinded by a ghost before? I couldn't make sense of it, but I set my jaw and ran up the stairs. I can't let Ma Xiaohu get hurt. He came here to help me. Tonight's exercise quota was definitely exceeded, but I didn't seem to feel tired at all. I ran straight up to the 12th floor in one go. Staring at the door before me, I didn't hesitate. With one strong pull, I yanked it open. Ma Xiaohu, are you in there? Come out. I opened the door. No response. Has something happened? I took a breath and peered inside. It was so pitch dark, I couldn't make anything out. I picked up my flashlight and shone it in. For some reason, the visibility was very poor. Help me. Come quickly, help me. In a daze, it was as if I heard Ma Xiaohu's cries for help. Where are you? Help, help. The sound was faint and indistinct. The more anxious I became. I bit my lip and decided to go in and take a look. But I was cautious. I found a broken broom nearby and wedged it against the doorway, then took a single step across. Darkness met my eyes. In that kind of setting, I didn't dare speak loudly. I could only whisper Ma Xiaohu's name softly. Ma Xiaohu, Ma Xiaohu. My footsteps echoed down the entire corridor. There was a feeling of thick stillness in the air. I didn't notice that shortly after I went in, a hand suddenly appeared by the doorway and yanked the broom out from the entrance. Creak! The decrepit emergency exit slowly closed by itself. And I still didn't notice, still straining to try to find any trace of Ma Xiaohu. Relying on the impression left by the sound just now, I slowly walked toward a room. Isn't this the very room I went into during the day? I examined the door closely. It was definitely the right one. Even the rust on the doorknob matched. I hesitated, swallowed, then gave a light knock. The door opened at the sound. How could this be? I was sure I had locked it. How did it open? Could Ma Xiaohu really be inside? No matter what, I couldn't let anything happen to him. Ma Xiaohu, are you there? If you are, say something. Unfortunately, still no one answered me. I stepped in cautiously. Because I had been here during the day, I was fairly familiar with the layout. But when I actually stepped inside, something changed violently. How did it get so hot? I turned to look out the door. Roaring flames were already spreading down the corridor. It seemed like many people were screaming and crying around me, yet I couldn't see a single human figure. I was paralyzed with fear, my hands and feet useless, and my eyes filled with nothing but flames. How could this be? How could it suddenly catch fire? I didn't have time to think. I hurriedly shut the main door to keep the flames from rushing in. I ran to the faucet, which for some reason had turned pitch black, and twisted it hard, but not a single drop came out. The surrounding walls began to warp. My vision went dark, and the whole room had become like the aftermath of a blaze, blackened and charred. I looked toward the only exit, a window, the shards of glass I had swept up that very day. But now it stood before me intact. I had no time to think. I grabbed a broken chair nearby and hurled it. Bang! The glass window shattered with a sound, and I realized even the pattern of the break was identical to what I'd seen during the day. I didn't have time to ponder it. I ran to the window because I saw the flames already leaping inside, and the door had caught fire. The cold wind outside brushed my face. I looked down. From the 13th floor, a fall would be surely fatal, right? But if I didn't jump, I would just sit here and wait to die. I climbed up to the window, trapped between going forward and retreating, with the merciless flames at my back urging me on as if demanding my life. My mind was already absurdly weighing whether it would be more dramatic to be burned to death or to fall to my death. Just as I was lost in such wild thoughts, a hand suddenly yanked me back. Slap! I was suddenly slapped, and for a moment stars danced before my eyes. Do you want to die? I covered my face and came to my senses, only to find it was that girl with long, straight black hair. Where's the lighter? You weren't told not to go up to the 13th floor? Are you stupid or what? But, wait, are you a person or a ghost? What are you talking about? If it weren't for me, you would really be dead. I told you not to go up there. How can you be so ungrateful? The more I thought about it, the more it didn't make sense. If this girl really were a ghost, why would she save me? You should know that I had already thought about jumping just now. But the elevator clearly wasn't broken. Why did you lie to me? The elevator wasn't broken? The girl frowned. With only half her face visible, she too looked puzzled. Could someone have powered it up? You. I don't want to explain in detail. All I can tell you is that the elevator had some problems, so it was shut down. I just don't know who turned it back on. I hope no careless fool gets in it. The girl's explanation wasn't without reason, but who would be bored enough to do that? Let's leave here first and talk later. I still had a lot of questions, but the girl turned and walked away, giving me no chance to ask. I left the room with my heart still racing. The big door behind me looked like a black whirlpool, emitting a dark, inky glow. Bang! I shut the room door and swore I would never set foot in that house again, no matter what. It was just too eerie. Hey, why didn't you leave? I followed behind the girl. Strangely, she hadn't even brought a flashlight, yet she walked as if she'd been there 100 times. Then suddenly she stopped. Why are you hanging around with her? Ma Xiaohu. I show my flashlight, and only then noticed Ma Xiaohu standing awkwardly in the middle of the corridor, staring at us in surprise. Lu Shi-san, come over here. She's not human. Ma Xiaohu shouted excitedly. His words made my heart jolt. You evil ghost who barged in. What exactly do you think you're doing? The girl retorted, unwilling to be outdone. Boom! My head exploded with questions. Who here was the ghost? Who was lying? Actually, in that moment I found myself trusting the girl more. After all, she had just saved me. If it weren't for her, I probably would have already jumped. But Ma Xiao, I examined him closely and realized he didn't seem all that different from the man I remembered, only that there was an extra shadow on his face. Maybe it was just the poor light at night. I couldn't see him very clearly. I couldn't tell what was real and what wasn't. I could only stare at the two of them stupidly. Suddenly, Ma Xiaohu pulled out that jade pendant and waved at the girl. The girl seemed as if she'd been struck by some terrifying assault and kept backing away. Look, she's afraid of my treasure. Lu Shi-san, hurry over. I was stunned by the scene. How could a normal person be afraid of pendant? I hurriedly stepped away from the girl and moved to Ma Xiaohu's side. You idiot! The girl cursed under her breath, stamped her foot, then ran out, and before long had vanished into the darkness. Who? Finally ran away. This place is too creepy. I met so many ghosts. Come on, let's get out of here quickly. Ma Xiaohu urged. I nodded and followed him to the emergency exit we had come in through. But, did you close the door? Ma Xiaohu called out in a high-pitched voice, as if this had been beyond his expectations. I clearly put something to block it, didn't I? This is it. I'm trapped. What a pity. I was only one step away, failed again. That damned woman, it must be her. Sooner or later I'll kill her in this 13th space. What's the 13th space? The more I listened, the more wrong it sounded. Ma Xiaohu seemed to know far too much. Wasn't he just an apprentice to some charlatan? Since we can't get out, I won't pretend anymore. Stay here and wait for death. Ma Xiaohu, you. I'm not Ma Xiaohu. I've been lying to you all along. Even though I failed to find stand-in, the cycle returns every year, and I'll be back. He suddenly ran out like a madman. Though his words stunned me, I chased after him. Perhaps he knew where the way out was. I didn't try to push the door. I knew that if he couldn't get out, neither could I. Otherwise, he would have long ago tricked me into opening it. My mind was a complete mush. No wonder that girl called me an idiot. I actually believed the words of a malevolent ghost. I mustered every last bit of strength, barely managing to catch up with my Xiaohu. Fortunately, he only passed 2 more corners before stopping and thrusting a door open. It turned out to be the very room I had been possessed in. I rushed forward, but could only watch helplessly as he, without hesitation, leapt down. I hurriedly looked down, only to see my Xiaohu fall into a whirlpool in midair, flash me an eerie smile, and then vanish without a trace. Could this be the exit to escape with my life? I hesitated for a moment, but still couldn't bring myself to jump. So now you're scared? The girl's voice was like the music of the spheres. I was delighted to find she was standing behind me again. What on earth is going on? The girl sighed. She knew I wouldn't give up until I got an answer. That one is the ghost who jumped off this building before. He can't reincarnate. Every day he repeats the jump here, never entering the cycle. So he looks for a substitute, someone to jump in his place. And you are that unlucky bastard. The girl deliberately emphasized the word ghost, and I didn't catch any other meaning behind her words. I merely asked out of curiosity, "What about you? If you're human, why are you afraid of the thing in his hand?" "Do you really want to know?" A trace of awkwardness appeared at the corner of the girl's mouth. As if something painful had come to mind, she grew visibly uneasy. "I want to know what happened. Why is there this inexplicable 13th space here? I'm just a security guard, not a Taoist priest. I don't catch ghosts. Why was I dragged into this?" The girl shook her head. "You brought this on yourself, didn't you? You broke the rules." I have nothing left to say. Yes, if I hadn't broken the rules from the start, maybe none of this would have happened. Do you know why he jumped? I thought back to everything I had encountered in the building. Could it have been because of the fire? The girl nodded and said, "You're clever. That fire killed many people. He didn't want to be burned to death, so he jumped out the window, but unfortunately he still died from a fall. His blood stained the carving he held. That thing is a piece of death jade. With his hatred toward the living attached to it, it developed a curse. Those who weren't burned to death were affected by it. No wonder you felt unwell." Her words finally made the sequence of events clear to me, but they also deepened my confusion. "I believe you were one of the survivors, so why are you still living in this haunted place? You think I want to?" The girl forced a smile and brushed aside the hair that had been hiding her face. "You!" I jumped in fright. What a face this was. The other half of her visage was covered by snarling, terrifying skin, as if one side were an angel and the other a devil. See? My face was disfigured in a fire. I can't go anywhere except this haunted building. The loathing and disgust in people's eyes make me wish I were dead. Only here can I hide and lick my wounds alone. I'm sorry, I'm not. No need to say it. I'm used to it by now. Dawn is almost here. If you don't leave now, you'll never get out. Remember the note said to open the door before 5. It's to prevent the keeper from getting lost inside the building. I have one last question. Are there any living people left in this building? The girl froze for a moment, then shook her head in stunned disbelief. Then what's the point of my patrols? To stop those idiots, drifters, thieves, and the like, from coming in to die. All right, I understand. Let's go. He wasn't lying about one thing. If the door is shut, you can't get out from the inside. Then we're as good as dead. The girl smiled delicately. I swear that when she covered half her face, she became impossibly beautiful. What a pity. Do you remember you said someone opened the elevator before? I think this is our only way out. As she spoke, the girl headed straight for the elevator. At the elevator doors, the lights were indeed on. She pressed the call button and turned to say, "Do you know why we can't let him leave through the emergency exit?" I shook my head honestly, though my curiosity was piqued. If he had gone out through the emergency exit, he could have gone on to harm others again. Now that he jumped out the window, it's like he's fallen back into the death loop. Except for next year's Zhongyuan festival, he can't get out now. I see. So that's why you took away the broom at the door? Broom? What broom? I propped the broom at the doorway. Didn't you move it? A chill ran through me. Something felt off. Could there be someone else here? Sure enough, the girl only shook her head. I came in before you. Why would I shut the door and cut off my own escape? But when I came in, the door was already closed. How could this be? Now the girl was dumbfounded. She had always assumed Lu Shisan had casually closed the door without knowing why, but now seemed there was another person involved. Who could it be? The girl thought, somewhat pensively, maybe. Ding dong. Under the two of their watch, the old elevator doors slowly opened, interrupting the girl's thoughts. Who? Both of them exhaled in relief. Fortunately, there were no other people in the elevator. The previous topic had put them both on edge. Let's go. I feel like if we stay any longer, something bad will happen. While the elevator's still working, let's go down from the 12th floor. The girl said this and pressed the 12th floor button. The instant the elevator doors slowly closed, I clearly saw shadows crowding outside, and in the dark there was a pair of strange eyes staring fixedly at me from across. Ding dong. KKKKK. 12th floor reached. The elevator was doing fine, but halfway up, the power suddenly cut out. Luckily, we could still squeeze out. When the two of us escaped to safety, we couldn't help but laugh at each other. Truly a blessing in disguise. I sighed. It's almost 5 o'clock. You could go open the door now. The girl hesitated as if about to speak but stopping. Is there anything else you want to say? Don't go open the door right away. First go back to your security office. But won't that take too long? I was already about to run downstairs as I spoke. I don't want to be unlucky again because I broke the rules. This time, you must listen to me. The girl spoke with absolute certainty. I hesitated for a moment, then agreed because she had been helping me the whole way and I had no reason not to trust her. I ran down as fast as I could. Even though I didn't know why she insisted I return to the security office first, I still didn't want to break the rules. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. I arrived at the security office door, out of breath. Ding dong, ding dong, ding. 5 chimes rang out. I shook my head in resignation. I was still too late. If I had gone straight to open the door, I might have made it, but since it could no longer be changed, I simply opened the security office door. I really wanted to know what the girl meant and why she insisted that I return to the office first. When I pushed open the security office door, I froze for a moment, then felt my soul leap from my body. Who are you? I blurted out. He seemed not to react either, only staring at me with terrified eyes. Why didn't you go open the door? Why do you look exactly like me? I was still drowning in my own shock, unable to pull myself out. He suddenly bolted, and I was caught off guard. He shoved me aside, and I fell to one side. Trying to run? Get back here! I shouted as I scrambled to my feet. I didn't know what was happening, but my gut told me that if I didn't chase after him, I was as good as dead. I chased after myself and ran out. If anyone had been passing by, they'd probably have been terrified. Oh, almost forgot. Besides that girl, it seemed there were no other living people in this building. I followed him all the way into the innermost part of the first floor. Bang! He slipped into a room and slammed the door shut, locking it immediately. Humph, like catching a turtle in a jar. Let's see where you think you'll run. Wait, isn't this that creepy storage room? I hesitated for 3 seconds, bit my lip, let my courage swell, and kicked it open. Damn it, in broad daylight, am I going to let some mysterious thing like you get the better of me? By the weak light of the newborn morning sun, I saw a figure lying on the ground, a shaft of sunlight just passing through the glass in the door and falling across him. What does this mean? Playing dead? I tightened my grip on the powerful flashlight in my hand. I had a weapon. If necessary, I'd swing it at him. I walked slowly toward him, and then there was no then. I suddenly lost consciousness, as if plunging into an endless darkness. When I woke up again, I found my head splitting with pain, and it was already broad daylight. Huh. I looked around. I was still in that storeroom, only I was lying exactly where that person had lain. What on earth had happened? Ring, ring, ring. Ring, ring, ring. My phone suddenly started buzzing. One look at the caller. Ma Xiaohu. I glanced up at the sunlight outside. At this hour, broad daylight, I shouldn't be seeing ghosts anymore. I silently tapped the answer button. The king covers the earth tiger. Chicken stewed with mushrooms. Ha 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 ha. Lu Shur-san, congratulations on coming back. This, do you know something? Of course I knew. Turn on your flashlight and take a look. What do you mean? I unscrewed the flashlight. This is... You noticed, huh? That's a miniature camera, so when you carried the flashlight, my master and I watched the whole thing. What kind of game are you playing? I almost nearly died last night. Don't get angry yet. To put it simply, if my master hadn't come up with this method, you might really not have been able to come back. Not be able to come back? What on earth is he talking about? Wait, can you speak more clearly? My brain's completely mashed right now. You dropped a soul, you know that. Huh, I didn't feel anything. You've been zoning out a lot lately, remember? Your aunt took you to see my master. He divined that one of your souls somehow left your body and is trapped in the 13th space. It can't be called back. There could actually be such a thing. For a moment, I thought of many possibilities, but there was one point I still didn't understand. But you don't have to throw me into this haunted building just for a single soul, do you? Besides zoning out, I don't feel anything wrong in my daily life. Are you stupid? Do you think a person can live long with an incomplete soul? Over time, you'll become a walking corpse. We put you here. This is called placing you in mortal danger to give you a chance to live. Think carefully, and you'll understand what you went through last night. Really? I tapped my head and thought hard. Memories flooded my mind like a tide, and suddenly, I seemed to remember something. I, I think I remember now. I didn't go into the 13th floor last night. Nonsense. None of us saw you go in, but my master says your soul went in on its own to look for that missing fragment. So that means my body didn't go in? Then the person I ran into in the security room was my own physical body. Haha. To be precise, it was your body possessed by an evil spirit. You didn't see it yourself, but we really did. Something got into your body, took the broom you left, and shut the emergency exit. We all thought you were dead. By the way, how did your soul get out? I thought back carefully. I think I stepped into that broken elevator. Ugh, what's up with that elevator? Who on earth was operating it? That one stumps me. This building was a haunted place to begin with, so nothing about it is surprising. Maybe some mischievous ghost did it. We're also puzzled how you found a loophole in the rules. A loophole in the rules? Yeah, only that bit about opening the door before the rooster crows at 5 is a lie. Before the rooster crows, it's still night. How could you go open the door then? Otherwise, that evil spirit wouldn't have been so startled by your sudden appearance that it ran off. I drew a deep breath, and the images in my mind slowly came into focus. So that's how it was. Many things suddenly fell into place. It seemed I really should thank that girl. By the way, you still didn't say how you discovered the loophole. Oh, it was a girl who told me. A girl? Where did this girl come from? No, haven't you been watching the surveillance? Didn't you see a girl who kept helping me? She even said she was one of the original survivors, that her face was burned, and because of her shame, she still lives here. You're crazy. We didn't see anything. You aren't hallucinating, are you? The fire in this building spread from below. With the fire safety so poor, everyone fled upward. Those who jumped, jumped. Those who burned, burned. There were no burned survivors at all. Boom. My mind went blank. That girl is a ghost.